The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 30th day of August, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Folks, there's a lot of action happening out there. I've got the news on in back of me. Looks like in Florida, a heavy one is about to hit the... it looks like the Panhandle up there. And then in Bermuda, we've got Franklin working its magic out there in the Atlantic. Thankfully, it seems it's not going to be too close. But audience, let us know. You know, we love to do a roll call during these times. Let us know that you and your family are okay. And let us know what you do to prepare for these times as well. Like, do you have any elderly relatives you have called, looked out for, any vulnerable people in your life? Let us know. But yeah, it's that time of year. It's that season. It's the time where Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does in the tropics. So let's just take some extra precaution. Unfortunately, yesterday I was watching the news, and in Florida, I guess the U.S. news in Florida over there on the west coast of Florida, it looked like people surfing. I know how people, like to put themselves and others in danger during this time. It's not cool. Let's not do that. Let's talk some sense into our friends and relatives that like to do that stuff and keep everybody safe. But let us know you are good, and let us know how you and your family prepare. And greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We do have another good one for you today, as we have Shelly Leman on the show from BELCO. We're going to be discussing, timely, hurricane messaging and what we can do, what BELCO does, and just how the entire process works from a utility standpoint when, dealing with Mother Nature's wrath when it comes to hurricanes and heavy storms. The daily play is music today. So, we've got music today. I know this is Sancha and Sherry's favorite one, not because they get it right, just because they like music. So we don't have to worry about them getting it wrong today. All right, folks. I think they both told me they'll be back next week, though. So my freedom's almost over, folks. Let me get a few things out that I can say without getting in trouble with them here, and we'll be good. If you haven't already, please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Please help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Sherry Vanderpool, she says Mama P is keeping safe. So her mom is actually located in on the west coast of Florida. So we're always thinking about Mama P over there, and I believe there's quite a few Bermudians over that side. So thinking about them, and if you know somebody, just check up on them, folks. Karen Simmons says, good morning, TDH. Keep safe, everyone, and be prepared. Family is prepared as per usual. I did see St. George's Cricket Club. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought they were selling plywood. So if anyone wanted wood or something to protect their houses. And folks, it's just not for this pending storm, right? Again, we're entering that period. August is usually pretty early, if I'm not mistaken, for a hurricane storm. I think Bermuda's been September, October for the most part. So this is pretty early, and hopefully it's not a sign of things to come. But, it's nothing like preparing for the worst. Hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. So hope everyone is safe out there. And let's jump into this morning's question. So Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Bermuda has a by-election coming up. The One Bermuda Alliance, the OBA, has announced their candidate as Ben Smith. Ben Smith has been an MP before. I believe he sits on the Senate right now, and he's a national swim coach, does quite a bit. So he will be representing them in the constituency formerly held by the Honorable former Education Minister and party leader of the One Bermuda Alliance, Cole Simons. The Bermuda Progressive Labour Party, the current sitting government, have announced that they will roll out their candidate, I believe, later this week. Tomorrow they'll roll out their candidate tomorrow. So looks like it will be. I don't know if there's any independents, so it looks like it'll be. I can't say that because the date's not here yet. But right now, it looks like the PLP definitely will be rolling out a candidate, and the OBA has rolled out a candidate. But I don't. I guess I kind of touched on this yesterday. By-elections are not usually. They don't usually have that great of a turnout. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily know how to read or what to read into a by-election. But with where we are and what we've been through over the last few years, I think this by-election should be very telling. It should be. Not saying it will be. It should be. And just because you live in a constituency that's not this one doesn't mean that it doesn't impact you, because at the end of the day, that person who has chosen to elect that constituency is still representing you and the people of Bermuda. So you do have a role to play in terms of trying to influence maybe friends, family in that area, but also do not think it doesn't impact you simply because you don't have a vote in that constituency. Which brings us to the question of the morning, which was on our Instagram stories last night. What do you believe should be the deciding factor in this upcoming by-election? And I would say use that question as if there were a general election. What do you think should be the deciding factor? You heard Maya read the reports of the bickering from one side to the other day about the constituency being underrepresented, and the PLP saying that they're going to speak on their record and da 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 da. Look, you all know I don't subscribe to liberalism. I don't subscribe to conservatism, moderate, whatever. I legit subscribe to humanity. That's it. I think, like most people, we just want what's best for the people. We want what's best for everyone, and it is possible. What's best for everyone doesn't mean everyone gets exactly what they want, but it can mean that no one's left behind and no one goes without. We can't take sides politically and tie up loyalties politically, because like we evolve as people, so do politics, so does politics, and so do political parties. They shouldn't, but they do. So the question of the morning is, what do you believe should be the deciding factor in this upcoming by-election? What do you think should be a main thing? Again, the PLP basically believe that their track record speaks for itself. Outside of those who pay dues in the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party, who quite really would vote for them based on their track record? And I'm being respectful here. Outside of a paying member of that political party, I don't think I am anymore. It's been some years. But anyway, outside of a paying member for the political party, what exactly would you pay? And this is not to say they haven't done anything. Every government does stuff. Every government does stuff, whether we believe it's in our best interest or not. But what do you believe should be the deciding factor in this upcoming by-election? The PLP says the record speaks for itself. What should be the deciding factor? What have they done? Well, what do you think the One Bermuda Alliance can do that the PLP hasn't? What stands out to you that say, you know what, this needs to happen? Is it immigration? Do you believe that Bermuda, we need someone in that's going to fight for better immigration policies? We need more people here to bring our taxes down, right? Is it going to be healthcare? My healthcare is through the roof. We need someone who understands what it's going to take to bring that down or make it affordable. Is it education? We know it's been a mess. There's the West End situation. There's the East situation. There's what's the latest with the transition to the parish primary schools. Is it crime? Yes, we've seen a reduction in gun-related incidents, but does that mean it's done? Does that mean it's over? Does that mean there is improvement? Road fatalities. We're on 12. We're on 12 by the end of August. The conditions of the roads. We've heard a minister say it's going to take $100 million to fix all of Bermuda's roads. Should that be a factor? What do you believe should be the deciding factor in this upcoming by-election? How should it be determined? What's on your mind? What do you believe is of most importance that people need to keep front and center, top of mind when they go out there to vote? Let us know in the comments. Let's go to Instagram and see what we got on there. So we asked the same question. What should be the deciding factor in this upcoming by-election? And you know how it goes. Give me a second. Just got to get up on Instagram. And so on Instagram, we asked, what should be the deciding factor in the upcoming by-election? And we got, wish I had the time and money to run as an independent because I'm so tired of party politics. Well, that brings another question. Would you vote for an independent? Do you think independence is the way to solve Bermuda's problems? Let me tell you what the premier thinks. I'm going to borrow something from Gary Foster Skelton. And I want you to pay close attention to this, folks. Pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you. I'm just going to share with you what your premier thinks. Give me 2 seconds. What's his name? David Burt. Premier Burt. Let's share what Premier Burt thinks. So this is from Bermuda Broadcasting, Gary Foster Skelton, his Twitter. Let's bring it up. All right.
From the United Bermuda Party and the One Bermuda Alliance since 1964. It's a fact, and it's an uphill seat. But we are going to make sure that voters who support the Progressive Labour Party in that constituency have a candidate that they can believe in. We look forward to rolling out our candidate in the near future and contesting on the doorstep. But we know that it's an uphill seat, but we're looking forward to the by-election and we'll see what happens.
The OBA appears to be organizing itself with new candidates. There have been rumors. Are you going to call another snap election?
I'm not entirely certain if I even, I guess, go on this whole thing of snap elections. Elections are called under the Constitution of this country. I think that the Westminster system of government works and functions very well. And if there is an election, the opposition leader will know because the governor shall inform him after I have informed the governor. But I am focused on governing. We are focused on governing.
Let's go back to right here.
I think that the Westminster system of government works and functions very well.
The Premier David Burt just said that he believes the Westminster system works and functions very well. That's what he said. Well, let's go to another tweet, and this is by Intelligent Gumby. Because, folks, you know I'm one who I believe our minds can change. I believe our minds can change. But let's just make this a bit bigger. Let's make this a bit bigger. David Burt, May 2018. Though we may not be referred to as overseas territories, it is just the politically correct way to say that we are a colonial possession of the United Kingdom, a country with a parliament that still thinks it is right to legislate for its colonists from Westminster, a place where we have no voice, a place where we have no vote, and a place where our people's futures are treated as convenient political punching bags without regard for the lives that are impacted by the UK's domestic political squabbles. Just yesterday, the Palace of Westminster witnessed a debate where the residents of the colonies were treated with disdain and where peers spoke about the contingent liability of the colonies with members who may have never set foot here, purporting to have the right to make laws for this colony. You know, this is the kind of hypocrisy that must be called out. Our minds can change. Our minds can change. But the fact that no one in Bermuda, no one seems to care about what David Burt, Premier, does on a regular basis. Let me tell you why all of a sudden the Westminster system works. Because David Burt and his colleagues have what they want. They have political power, which gives them jobs and salaries they would never get in the private sector. That's why the Westminster system works perfectly fine now. That's why they have no issue. That's why it's no longer racist. That's why it works. I'll tell you what. Remember I said a couple days ago that there was a time when Black people voted hardcore conservative Republican in the US. And then that changed. And they became Democratic voters. If that statement doesn't wake up Black Bermudians to understand you've been bamboozled and that this party is no longer representing what it initially intended to do. I mean, this is the party that's supposed to be pushing independence. This is the party that's supposed to be pushing independence. And the leader of that party, you got to ask yourself, and you don't have to go back far. The leader of the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party before David Burt was Mark Bean. Would he ever make that statement? Chances are he wouldn't. Prior to Mark Bean, it was Paula Cox. You ask yourself, would Paula Cox ever make that statement? Chances are she wouldn't. Prior to that, Dr. the Honorable former Premier Ewart Brown. You ask yourself, would he have ever made that statement? Chances are he wouldn't have. And of course, before that, you had Alex Scott, former Premier. Ask yourself, this man was pushing for independence. Would he have ever made that statement? I bet you not. This is why I tell people, be careful what you vote for. When you think about what should be the deciding factor in this by-election, remember that statement by Premier David Burt. They will try to whiten the OBA. They will try to make them seem like, and I'm not here to defend them. I'm not a voter in Bermuda. This is insane that the Premier David Burt can feel comfortable enough to say that on a public setting. And people still get out there and give him the vote. Because a vote for this candidate is a vote for David Burt, the Premier of Bermuda. Let's go to the audience. Polly Rich says, Jamal, you were spot on. When I initially heard that comment, my first thought was I thought he didn't like the system. Well, I'll tell you what, any person who leads the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party, I mean, I thought that's what they were about, not liking the system, to get in and change the system. But yeah, Elephant 999 says people have to understand that this system doesn't care about us and not designed to help anyone progress. We need to choose people in the community or outside of Bermuda who are examples of real evolution. Silas Lynch says there was also an interview he did on 107.5 where he said he doesn't work for the people, he works for the delegates of the party. Well, if he only works for the delegates of the party and not the people, why do the people go and vote? I mean, it's that simple, right? I can't tell other people what should be the deciding factor in how they choose to vote. What I will say is enough information for you to reconsider your position, to consider your position, to think about why you're going to place your vote a certain place or why not. But for a leader of the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party to say that the Westminster system works well, it's very interesting. In the words of Joel Brahm, my, oh my. My, oh my. This is an interesting time to be a Bermudian. A very interesting time to be Bermudian. We don't know who the candidate's going to be for the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. And we honestly don't know how the by-election is going to turn out. But I would encourage people to stop doing things they've always done simply because it's easy. Silas Lynch says he's telling the public very clearly who he is and what he stands for. And you know what they say? When people tell you who they are, you better believe them. I thought my group chats would have been blowing up with that. Silence. I thought people would have been on social media blowing up with that. Silence. Folks, I know no one wants to feel like they got beaten or bamboozled, but we did. Well, you did. I can't vote. They removed me from the registry. Karen Simmons says, people tell you who they are. Words and actions, believe them the first time. Renee Simmons says, it's obvious he works only for the delegates because he only answers to them. 150 people, not Bermuda, less than 65,000 now. Let's bring Maya in for the news break. Don't forget, we have a very good conversation coming up with Shelly Leman, Managing Director over there at BELCO. Folks, we've got some work to do to ensure that we keep ourselves safe and, prepped and ready in the event of bad weather and power outage. So looking forward to the conversation with Shelly. But before that, let's bring up Maya for her Daily Hour news break. I cannot hear you, sister.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
I'm all right this morning. Doing pretty well.
Wonderful to hear. I like your hair.
Don't try to be that person just because Sherry and Sancha are not here. My hair has looked like this all week.
Oh. Okay. Nice. What color is that? Purple, fuchsia?
All right. Anyway, going back into the news break this morning and things that we're talking about with the by-election. We want to continue on with just those statements. So good morning, everyone. This is a Daily Hour news break brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. And just as Jamal has said earlier, yes, the OBA has announced their candidate as Ben Smith, and the PLP did release that they will be announcing theirs tomorrow in the morning time, right before the afternoon. So we'll hear from them. They did say in their press statement, though, when they will be rebuttaling to the position that Ben Smith was going to be a candidate, they said, quote, the PLP will be announcing our candidate in due course. Rest assured, our candidate will not be recycled and disrespectful former MP, but rather an inspiring new face who represents the best of Bermuda. So just some things to think about there, because they did say it's a new face. So potentially we haven't heard about this person yet or seen this person yet, or they just never been in a position to actually, run for an MP position. So that's something just to think about. Also from that statement, there was actually I guess you could say Ben Smith did have an op-ed press release about the xenophobic comments as well. So he said this morning there was a press release that went out. He said, quote, "I learned a valuable lesson in political communication before the snap 2020 election. I recorded a video about immigration so that we could have a reasonable policy discussion. Unfortunately, it was edited and used as a political weapon. Of course, on the announcement of my candidacy for Constituency 8, the PLP propaganda machine went to work with a new and completely disingenuous misinformation campaign. Context is important, and the video did not give context or provide the clear message that was intended." He went on to say more further things in that statement. However, I did get to interview Ben Smith yesterday about his candidacy. So let's look at a quick clip about what he had to say about immigration and also the comments that were made against him.
The issue is this. We are a country that is made up with a lot of people that have come from a lot of different countries. That is something that we should embrace. And because of it, we have to then realize that that means that in the future, we should also be okay with people from outside of the country coming in and helping us to dig out of the hole that the Progressive Labor Party has put us in. The issue that I have is, why are they not willing to embrace their history the way that I'm willing to embrace mine? I'm going to tell you that there are members of my family that came from other islands in the Caribbean. That's literally how most of us ended up in Bermuda. So for us to pretend that that didn't happen isn't a thing. And I'm not saying that to pick on where anybody came from. What I'm saying is that should be the foundation of why we need to be less restrictive and start to realize, in order to attract people to Bermuda, we are going to have to be welcoming. When the minister gets up and says that we need to increase our population by 8,000 people, he needs to explain to us how he's going to do that. Because doing the same old that they've been doing all this time is not going to attract people. Everybody in the world is looking for human capital. Our young people are choosing not to be in Bermuda. Our people are deciding that it's time to emigrate away from Bermuda. So if they are going to continue to play the same thing that they've been playing all this time and go with personal attacks, it's not going to work. What we have to do is figure out what the plan is and how we together are going to move forward to make this happen. They can continue to try to push this narrative that I'm the one that's xenophobic, but the truth is they're speaking about themselves.
I mean, if you take one conversation and call someone xenophobic versus years of like comments, I mean, he has a point. But you know, this is the kind of discourse I think that people aren't interested in. I don't think Bermudians really care about calling people names at this point. What they care about is who's interested in improving the lives of the people on island, and how are you going to do it? That's it.
I'll really sing this full one, hopefully, after I get an interview with the candidate that is elected for the Progressive Labour Party, just to do a whole breakdown of each side and what they both plan to do when or if they are elected for constituency number 8 seat. So look out for that. Now, in other news, this is coming from the Bermuda Police Bermuda Police Service. Around 3 p.m. on Saturday, August 26th, police officers were on mobile patrol in the area of Middle Road near the junction with Montpelier Road, Devonshire, when they had cause to stop a motor car for suspected illegal tint. As they engaged the driver of the vehicle, officers detected a strong odor of marijuana coming from the car. This was pointed out to the driver, who was informed, and the vehicle would be searched under Misuse of Drugs Act. The driver initially refused to exit the vehicle, but eventually complied with the officer's request, and the vehicle was searched. During the search, officers seized a quantity of plant-like material, a grinder, and a small canister of suspected pepper spray. The driver was cautioned and subsequently arrested for suspicion of possession of a controlled drug, possession of drug equipment, and a possession of prohibited weapon.
Bermuda police doing their thing. I think I speak for many when I say thank you. We're grateful.
Yeah, and just a reminder of the illegal tint, everyone, because I think that's one that kind of people do forget, because cars can actually come into Bermuda with the illegal tint, which doesn't seem right, but they can. So just be wary of that if you have it, to be sure that you don't, that you get it removed.
Yeah, and again, not to get into it, but I just think that should be on the seller, like the distributor, to remove that tint rather than the person who's purchasing. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to purchase something that's illegal. Like,
Yeah.
it makes no sense.
I agree. Next in the news, some kind of happiness or something you could go and look at next time you're at the Hamilton Princess Beach Club. But they have a new piece of art mural here at the Hamilton Princess and Beach Club. You can see it here or go for yourself to look at it. It is an international artist that like specializes in kind of graffiti work that does this for different places around the world, truthfully. It has been installed along the Princess Marina, created by world-recognized street artist Ben Eni. So that's there.
That's pretty cool. I know you love it, but no, that's pretty cool. I like that. Is it gonna be there for like ever or like just?
Things tend to stay for a long time at the Hamilton Princess Beach Club. It actually is known for a lot of their artwork. It's almost like a museum hotel. I'm sure those who have been there can attest to that. It's just like pictures and paintings everywhere, or different structures and statues.
Yeah, they've created an art experience there. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have. Next time the mural that they put up would be, I mean, hopefully I would love to see a Bermudian mural in there. So, but that one was really awesome too. World-renowned artist. So nice to have him in the city.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, coming up next in the news, and then we're going to talk a lot about it later, so I won't say too much, but as Hurricane Franklin passes through the region, current forecast shows that the tropical storm, and this is a report that came yesterday in the afternoon, shows that the tropical storm force winds are expected to affect the northwest and northern Maine areas between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Today, the August the 30th. You can let us know what it's looking like outside your windows right now, everyone. However, the storm is not expected to bring significant rainfall, they say. Seas inside the reef are anticipated to reach between 5 and 6 feet with limited surge due to the storm's patches corresponding with the changing tides from high and low. This is just an image as well that they had put it in the press statement too about the tropical storm warnings in effect for Bermuda and where it seems to be traveling to. So we're a little bit inside of it, but we're not taking the big blunt of it, thankfully.
Yes, thankfully. Stay out in the ocean. Yeah, that's the best place for you. Yeah.
And coming from Skyport, it was said that there have been flights canceled, notice for United Airlines, Newark, and American Airlines as well. So if you did have any flights, just check that out and see what's happening. There was action taken for American Airlines passengers with accommodations and rebooking, but that's the main of it. So if you are flying, if you know someone that was trying to fly, just make sure you check on that.
Yeah, I did see one come through when I woke up this morning. Air Canada as well is canceled for Wednesday, August 30th.
Yeah.
Anyone who's affected by that. Yeah.
Check your flights. All right, and that's mainly the news for me today. Again, we got the weather coming up, but I'll let our guests go into more detail on that so you guys get the full experience about what's going on.
Well, there is a days of the year. I don't know how fun it's going to be, Maya, because of the weather, but guess what today's day of the year is, folks?
Yesterday was Individual Rights Day. I don't know.
It's Beach Day. Beach Day. Like, how are we supposed to celebrate Beach Day? Anyway, Beach Day was actually founded only in 2014 by animal activist and lifestyle expert Colleen Page. Her motivation for starting the day was to get humans to clean up the natural resources of the beaches to make them beautiful and sustainable so everyone can enjoy them for a long time into the future. So how do you celebrate Beach Day? Well, you go to the beach for one. And second, hey, organize a cleanup with your friends or hit up our friends at KBB. So my question to all of you this morning, what is your favorite Bermudian beach? Audience, let us know. What's your favorite beach in Bermuda, Maya?
I don't know.
See, I was thinking.
Okay, no, okay. I think it's Turtle Bay.
Okay.
Past Clearwater, the one that's way past Clearwater by the little lighthouse thingy. That one.
What's your favorite beach, audience? Maya, you know me and beaches. I don't do beaches. So I'm kind of like you. I don't know, but is Shelly Bay considered a beach?
Yes, it's a beach. Shelly Bay Beach.
Okay. I would say Admiralty House, but they don't have beach in the name. But yeah, I didn't really.
If it has sand, it's a beach to me. I don't.
You know what? I'm gonna go with John Smith Bay.
That's a good family one of mine too. All my years growing up, John Smith Bay.
Yeah, John Smith Bay. Tanya Cheeseman says Clearwater. Albo Beach from Elephant 999. John Smith Bay. See, look. NTS, John Smith Bay. Nachika Trot says John Smith Bay. We've got Cooper's Island. That's what I think you were talking about, Maya.
Yeah, all the way down there.
Yeah, that's what Mark said too. All right, so that's up Southampton. Cooper Island seems to be the popular one. We've got
It's pretty.
Taco Bay, yeah, but too busy now apparently.
It's got a lot of fun stuff at Tobacco Bay now. It's definitely a hot spot.
Yeah, Cooper's Island seems to be the fun one. All right, folks, let's do this. We've got we can't keep Shelly waiting anymore. We've got a conversation important. Get your questions, comments ready. After this show, you shouldn't need to call BELCO's emergency number. You should have the answers to your questions. All right, so just let's engage today so that we know for later. Maya, we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, my Palacio there, folks. Do not go anywhere. We're going to play a quick commercial break and come back with Shelly Leman of BELCO. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Place else.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, do not forget, no one's here with me, so I guess I'll be doing another giveaway for the Daily Play after our conversation with our guest today. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Shelly Leman. I think it's her first official time on the show. Here we go. All right, calm down. We wanted to come back. Hey, Shelly, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Jamal. How are you?
We're good. Hope you've enjoyed being backstage. And this is your first time, right?
First time, yeah. And I got to put a vote out there for John Smith's Bay as well. That's my favorite beach. So
John Smith's Bay. All right, yes. John Smith's Bay is winning it, folks. Yeah, I love me some John Smith Bay. I mean, I don't do beaches as I got older, but that was the one I liked as a child.
Yeah, it's a nice family beach, and you got a nice restaurant there now providing really good food. So
there you go.
Thumbs up.
Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time. Obviously, this is a very busy time for you. Today, I thought we're probably going to get a cancellation because you've got a lot going on, but let's just jump right into it. Just tell us how BELCO prepares for the arrival of a hurricane or a major storm.
Well, in the first instance, we stay in a state of readiness. We have a number of business continuity plans, of which one of them is our hurricane plan, which we test frequently, or we are tested with it frequently by the number of systems that pass the island. So we have a long history of responding to hurricanes. So our hurricane plan is quite robust. We follow an incident command system, and in the days leading up to a storm, we have a crisis management team that will start to meet and we'll take a look at the forecasts, any potential impacts that we can expect from our hurricane passage, and then we start to mobilize our teams. We have planning section chiefs, operation sections, and basically we start to look at what crews do we have available. We start to set up assignments, divide the area into we divide the island into 5 areas. We assign a division coordinator for each of those areas. So a lot of that work has been done over the last week. We started meeting as a crisis management team well over a week ago when we first started getting line of sight to Hurricane Franklin. So as I say, it's a process. We have plans in place and we practice them quite frequently. So we are well prepared and ready for any impacts that Franklin may throw our way.
Got you. And this is important information. What should the public do in preparation for pending hurricanes as far as their utilities go?
So the biggest thing is we all should remember that we do live in an area that is exposed to potential tropical systems, and every year it changes. And I heard you talking about it before, Jamal. Typically, our hurricane season is sort of late in the overall tropics, but we have had systems approach us in June. So for us, I think it's important to remember that the season extends from June 1st and goes into November. And while we anticipate hurricanes and storms to affect us later in the season, it's always a good place to be prepared, have your hurricane kits at home, make sure you have your flashlights, make sure you have tarp, ropes, batteries, all the things that you would want to have on hand. And that would be at the beginning of the storm season. As you have a hurricane approaching, depending on what impacts we can expect, you may want to consider boarding up your homes, obviously the usual things that we do when we're here on island. But with reference to BELCO and ensuring that you are safe, the biggest things are unplugging sensitive electronic equipment. Obviously, as we have hurricanes passing, we may have outages. We may get impacted by lightning, as an example. So if you have any sensitive electronic equipment, TVs, the new ovens nowadays can be quite smart. So it's important to just take a look at what equipment that you have, unplug things that you may want to consider keeping as safe as possible. And then the biggest thing is making sure that you're safe. So stay at home. After the passage of the storm, I know all of us in Bermuda, we like to get out on the roads really quickly. We want to see what damage has the island been undertaken as part of the storm preparation or passage. And for us, we ask you to stay off the roads. Our crews need to get out there. We need to assess the impacts, and then we need to determine where do we need to send our crews to best start the restoration efforts. So for us, we just ask folks to stay off the roads, keep out of our way. And the biggest thing is if you see downed power lines, to make sure you stay well away from the lines, treat them as if they're energized. Do not approach them. You must stay at least 30 feet away from them. So please, please stay away from downed power lines and protect yourselves.
Indeed, indeed. Folks, if you have any questions or comments for Shelly, please send them through. We'll do our best to get through as many comments and questions as possible. This has been a big one because just yesterday, I was just scrolling, as I do, social media, and there were a lot of people who were saying, okay, waiting on an update from the EMO. Where's the update from the EMO? But how does BELCO go about updating people throughout the storm? What methods? Obviously, we're living in a digital age. What are the different methods that you use to communicate the messaging?
Yeah, great question, Jamal. I think we've done a lot of work over the last 5 years to try and put more and more information at our customers' fingertips. So as an example, we started to deploy our advanced metering infrastructure, so our advanced meters. So a lot of folks out there will have these newer meters that have the ability to communicate back with us here at BELCO. And what does that mean for us during a storm? It means that we get information from those meters to say, hey, this house is without power right away. So it basically takes the need for a customer to call in and report an outage to us because we are seeing some of that information already. When we started to deploy the advanced meters, we also looked at making our website more customer friendly. So we've created a BELCO customer portal where you can log in, you can check your usage, etc. But we also have, and I know this is probably the most used site on our BELCO website, is our BELCO outage map. And that's something we deployed probably about 4 years ago and has been very handy in terms of looking at outages, understanding where they are. So anybody can log onto the BELCO website at any time and take a look at what outages there are on the network, how many customers out, what areas are being impacted. Now that website will also scale up depending on the level of impact. So when you first look at the outage map as an example, if we were to lose one circuit and lose about 300 customers, it's going to identify a space, a colored shading area on the map that identifies where that outage is taking place and how many customers are impacted. If we get more outages, like for example, in a hurricane with Fiona, we had thousands of customers without power. We would then switch that map over such that it displays information based on the parish. So you would see X amount of customers out in Devonshire, X amount of customers out in Somerset, and all of that information is available to anyone at any time by going to www.belco.bm. We also have a very strong communications team. Our communications team posts on social media. So you would see information posted on Facebook, and are we calling it Twitter still, or are we calling it X? But we'll be posting on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, as well as Instagram. So our social media is always available as well for you to get information. Finally, if we did have, substantive impacts from a storm, then we would be going out and likely releasing press releases via the media. We may invite the media in for any type of press updates that we may want to provide at that time. So the way that we treat impacts and the response is based on the damages sustained from the hurricane. So we can scale up our plan as required.
Okay, this is good information, honestly, folks. It's a lot. I wasn't underestimating you, but it was a lot. There are a lot of ways to get the information we need. The only question I would have had is, I know a lot of people will say, "Well, how am I going to have electricity to do that?" And I think the advice over the years has always been, charge your devices.
Yes,
Fire.
charge your devices. A lot of us nowadays have external battery packs for our mobile phones. I think nowadays you can also find some charging battery packs that you can buy from some of the stores like Gorham's or Masters that you can utilize to charge small devices or have a lamp on, as an example. So there are a number of ways to keep your devices charged, but I do recognize that in some instances we have an elderly population that may not get the information digitally. So that's where, as I say, if we sustain significant damage, then we would be out there with press releases providing information, and we might actually invite the press in to have a news conference.
There you go. And let's talk about this one. It's not funny, but it's always one that creates debate online. How does BELCO go about restoring power throughout the island? Because someone always feels like they're last.
Sure.
It's always someone different, but someone always feels like they're last.
Well, against all of the information received over the cup match period, while St. George's do say that we restore them first, that's not quite correct. So let's squash that right away. In terms of our restoration plan, we have to be very focused in terms of how we respond. So the first thing we have to do is we have to ascertain what type of damage did our network withstand through the storm. And from there, we can set out the plan where we have to go systematically. And the first thing we would do is bring on our main lines. Following that, we'd go into our branch lines. And then lastly, we'd go to individual homes, depending on where the actual damage occurs. So in some instances, you may be in a place where your neighbors have lights and we have restored areas around you, but there might be localized damage, which for us, we've got to try and bring on as many customers as quickly as possible. And we have to do it systematically, main lines, branch lines, and then individual homeowners.
Got it. That is good. Folks, stop this in Georgia Somerset stuff. I'm pretty sure that, it has nothing to do with cotton match. All right. So you mentioned earlier about people staying off the roads after hurricanes. I just want to revert back to that because when you're trying to restore power, when you're trying to assess damage, how important is it to be able to have access to private road, public road? How important is it? And what can you do to encourage the public? Because people we live in a digital age where everyone wants to be the first to share something. I'm not trying to tell you to, share whether or not it should be legislated, but what more can BELCO do to kind of get people to stay inside?
Yeah, certainly. I know it's consistent messaging. The EMO also puts this messaging out because there are other agencies that must get out on the road. So think as an example, if you had a family member that required medical assistance at some point during the storm, you want the ambulance, the fire truck, whoever to be able to get to your family member in need. Same way with critical services, parks, works and engineering, and BELCO. The message is consistent across the board. Please stay off the roads, leave them clear clear such that our teams can get to work right away after the storm. The faster that we can get out on the roads, the faster that we can begin our restoration efforts. And we work closely and alongside other areas and other teams like parks to clear the roads to make sure that we can get to the areas that we need to start the restoration efforts.
Indeed. And this question is pretty much what everybody wants to ask and hopes for after every incident where they lose power. What is BELCO doing to ensure losing power becomes a thing of the past someday?
Yeah, certainly. We've done a lot of work. So, and most people would be aware by some of the challenges that we've had in terms of folks, commuting to and from Hamilton in the morning. You get stuck on the roads because there's traffic lights out there because of our transmission upgrade project. So, as an example, we are investing a significant amount of money to upgrade the transmission network. Our transmission network is fully undergrounded, and we operate at an N-1 capacity with that. So we have a bit of flexibility in the transmission network. The upgrades are taking place to replace 50-plus-year-old cables in some instances. On the distribution network, we have about a 60-40 split in terms of our undergrounding versus overhead network. It is significantly more costly to fully underground a distribution network like ours on Bermuda. When you think about it, if we were to have a cable fault, the first thing that we have to do is locate that cable fault, and then we have to bring in somebody to excavate the roads, to dig up and basically repair the cable, and then reinstate the road back to the way that it was before. Now, that costs a significant amount of money, and it increases the time in terms of response. So while most folks may think, hey, why don't we underground the whole island? It actually can become a bit of a challenge in terms of the timing and the cost for response. So in some instances for us, it's much faster to respond to an overhead outage than an underground in some instances. So we try to think and take into account the costs associated with all of that work.
Interesting. That's a good one. I didn't consider that, but yeah. Michelle White, she just wanted to add, LinkedIn should also be included in the posting of updates. That's where business leaders would likely be found. So I don't know if you...
Yep, we do have a presence on LinkedIn as well. So you can follow us on LinkedIn, both Liberty and BELCO Bermuda.
Okay, perfect. And Paulie Rich has a question asking, as it pertains to sensitive equipment, is it recommended to unplug even if you have them plugged into a surge protector?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, yes, I would say unplug it, even if it's plugged into a surge protector, because one of the things, and I know I'm guilty of this as well, you buy a surge protector, you have it in your home, and you just assume, hey, this is protecting my equipment, and you keep it there for years and years, and you don't think anything of it until something happens. So sometimes you may have surges from lightning or anything that even from your internal equipment that could damage your surge protector, and you would be none the wiser, such that it's not going to be able to withstand any further impacts, and you could end up getting damaged. So we always recommend just unplug your sensitive equipment. If you have that brand new fancy TV that you do not want damaged, unplug it, keep it safe.
Yeah, I don't trust things enough to not unplug my surge protectors. Like I'm just looking around the amount of equipment to do this show. So now I would say, folks, I'm no expert, but unplug everything, as they say, unplug everything.
Yep.
Shelly, before you head out, just just give some quick advice to people. I mean, we're heading into the busy period. You said a lot this morning, but what comes top of mind that you would just tell people? Like, we know this happens every year.
Yes. Big things are, again, we sit in the middle of the Atlantic. We experience hurricanes and tropical systems with increased frequency, I would say, over the years. While we get into a position where we feel that we've done this before and, it's fine, everything's going to be fine, we should always remain in that state of readiness. So always be prepared. Make sure that you have your hurricane kits ready to go. And then the biggest thing is safety. Make sure that you and your family members are safe, that your homes are protected. If you have a vulnerable neighbor down the street from you, check in on them as well, because we do have a lot of senior citizens here on island, and it's important for us to go back to the Bermuda that we always know and love, and that's to be good neighborly citizens and take care of each other. So safety first, keep off the roads, check in on your neighbors, keep your hurricane kits ready and stay prepared.
Yeah, honestly, thank you so much. This was probably, and we've done almost 800 episodes. This was probably one of the most helpful conversations in terms of the information shared can really make all of our lives so much easier if we just, folks, a lot of the information here is very simple. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for this. And please let us know any messaging that you need to get out, storm or not. Please reach out to us. You have our information. And if this platform could be of any use to you in the future, just reach out.
No, really appreciate it, Jamal. If I could do one last thing before I leave, and that's to give a shout out to all of my field crews, because obviously today is a big day. I'm turning and looking outside of my office windows and all of my team. So as the managing director with responsibility for transmission, distribution, and retail, my responsibility is for all of my line crews. So our overhead line workers, our underground workers, our jointers, our substation electricians, our customer service reps. I just want to give a big shout out to my team, because these are the guys and girls that are out there working in the evening through storms when most of us are at home, in a comfortable area. Our guys are out there in the rain, in the wind, responding to events. So a big shout out to my team, a big thank you to them, and really appreciate the opportunity to be on the show today.
Thank you. And I will say, BELCO has this love-hate relationship with the public. They go from zeros to everybody's heroes when it comes to this stuff. So let's keep the hero thing going. Thanks again, Shelly.
Thank you, Jamal. Appreciate it.
All right. Folks, Shelly Leman from BELCO. If you appreciated today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that. Seriously, make sure you share the conversation. There was a lot of information in there that could be helpful for all of us going forward. I was really hoping that it was a St. George's thing after Somerset's dominance, but we can't be like that. But don't go anywhere. We do have a giveaway. First person to get the daily play correct. But we'll take a quick final break, wrap it up, and then send you off for your day. Stick with us.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
All right, folks, welcome back. Thanks again to Shelly Leman of BELCO. If you appreciated that conversation, found the information helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversations with your friends, your family, anyone who you think could benefit from the information. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. All right. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Audience, you know how it goes. And if you don't send your email to engage@thedailyhour.com within 24 hours, well, you don't get your prize, all right? So here we go. It's music today. Oh, I don't think you all's going to get this, but I'll give you an extra second. It's music. Here we go. What does Neo gotta change now that he's alone? All right, what does Neo gotta wow, she can't play. He has no hair, Michelle. He has no hair. Well, Maya Palacio got it, folks. Gotta change my answering machine now that I'm alone. That's the lyric. But no, he has no hair to change, Michelle. That was a funny one, though. That was hilarious. Let's give it to you. that was you took over my joke, but Maya, we'll find Maya a prize since she got it. No one else got it. Maya got it. So Maya, please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com to collect your winnings. Not sure that's illegal, but we'll look into it. Final thoughts on today's show. Folks, you heard out of David Burt's mouth himself, the Premier of Bermuda. The Westminster system works quite well. You heard it quite well. And as some in the audience have said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. We've got a big birthday shout out to the beautiful Shelly Leman Johnson. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you a great day and many more years of health and happiness to you. So audience, please give Shelly Leman a big happy birthday shout out. Do we have a birthday song for her? Do we have a little something? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, you got to let us know when your birthdays are, folks, so that we can sing to you. Especially when I'm alone, so I can give you a solo. But anyway, yeah. As far as BELCO and Shelly, thankful for the conversation with her. Really appreciate the information that she did share and the engagement from you guys in the audience. But we have to ensure that we are making smart decisions as individuals. I would love the day to come when no one loses power due to storms or non-storms. But right now, it's just par for the course. It's going to happen. But we need to do our part to ensure that they're able to get electricity back on so that people can go about their regular functioning lives. So stay off the roads when the storm's happening. Go on their social media, understand what's up and what's going on. All right. So yeah, happy birthday from Marcia. Michelle White doesn't know the artist. She doesn't know Neo. Tanya Cheeseman says happy birthday. Maya says happy birthday. Feels like 10 minutes late with his answer. It's funny how the TDH crew is giving the answers this morning. Interesting. They must have cheated. Anyway, it's time for the ER Fisheries and Food Daily Inspiration. And this quote from Earl Nightingale says, "Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway." This is true. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we will be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.